So the very conversation about psychic protection is an ongoing one, and I'll pick up on insights within myself and perhaps even outside of myself in different environments, natural environments, as well as the benefit about talking about these things in an urban environment. You know, I would pick up on things in Portland where the psychic link is stronger in between people. You know, this idea of looking at someone and they look back at you, that would happen more between myself and Portland and other places. That's also why I chose to relocate. So, you know, there's looking at something, even a problem, and then the opposite polarity, contrast, or solution. So you're going to play that game. We're going to go from discussing something, go to the polarity, so it's not so overwhelming on the negative. The internet as a tool is also an addiction that can lead to Archon mind hijack and lots of problems. What you're learning about Cambridge Analytica is like a metaphor for also what's being done to us by the Archon spiritually with all that data. And perhaps those same spiritual parasites are using that private message data that's in the hands now of Cambridge Analytica and foreign nation state governments likely like China as they prepare their war plans and gather intelligence on the American people. Stepping back from the internet, the contrast is shutting off for hours at a time, deactivating your Facebook page or not being on Twitter. If you're putting out content like someone like myself, using it like a tool, but understanding it's a flaming sword. So we have to cultivate and maintain that discipline to use it as a tool, but not let it overly bring out those narcissistic tendencies, which we all have. So, you know, we could become addicted to the dopamine rush from the connection to someone else online, the likes, the images. Unconsciously, what could be happening is a courting process between ourselves and others. Where there's an up, there's a down. So there's a dopamine rush for a flood of likes. And a lot of people are on the internet to build up their internet avatar to where they're in receivership of that energy. That can also turn dark if all those people were to turn on you, or if all that press were to be negative. You look at the lives of some of the celebrities that have found themselves at the top monetarily, only to find themselves in an embarrassing situation, or so encorded to that money and those people in Hollywood that are enslaving them that they end up being drug addicts. So people should learn about spiritual maintenance. I have now a half dozen videos on the basics of psychic protection, grounding your auric field to the center of the earth, and then release. Okay, bringing up your energies, if you will. Earth energy through the feet to the root chakra, cosmic energy to the back channel to the root chakra, flushing out the system. There's different visualizations. As above, so below. As below, so above. But it's about breath. It's about that focus, right? And pulling back from the machine. One of the other things about Facebook is it almost has a way of pulling a book out of us. I swear I've written a full book on Facebook, whether we're looking at the Quotes by Facebook group, Quotes by Alex Ansary group that I created to dump my quotes the last 4 years, that I think will be more understood philosophically, their commentary on this day and age. They'll be more understood in the future than they are by today's people, just like a lot of my ideas. You are the extreme minority of the population, knowing that there's a few hundred of you watching this. I've been doing this for many years, and there's over 7 billion on the planet. We know the amount of people that I'm reaching is a speck of sand in the greater scheme of things. I can do better. In order to do that, I have to be grounded. In order to do that, I got to pull back from the internet. I got to pull back from email. I got to pull back from even liking and commenting on other people's commentary. I got to be out walking today for 4 to 5 hours straight. Instead of only spending 2 hours in town, I need to be spending 5 hours in town, and not 1 minute out of those hours is spent on the internet and engaging with anyone. You know, I have a few best friends that I talk to on occasion, never over the phone, always over a few texts. And that's it. And that's how I have to decord from unpure influence, because it's all over the internet. And there are people out there that will seek to court with us that we should not be courting with, that we are not in communion with. And so when we clear ourselves and we decord, we have a more clear sight. My path is my path. My truth is my truth. My destiny is to write my story. Now, if I start reading someone else's story, right? Someone was saying, hey, have you heard about this person? Well, check out some of his stuff. Hey, so that's kind of cool. Whoa! He thinks he's talking to the Dracos? Most of the people that I've met in my life are not aligned with the truth when they're claiming that they have direct contact with beings from other places. And so what sets me apart from a lot of the channeled information is I'm advocating something that the Gnostics advocated, and that's truth within. And you have a lot of counterfeit Gnostics that are accessing information or saying they're accessing information about what the dark ETs are doing to us. But it all comes down to alleged channeled information and or encounters with reptilian beings. It's one thing to hypothesize about the Archonic agenda and how it works through reptilian bloodlines, and even to identify certain segments of our population as reptilians that are activating. Their lower selves right now, elements of our society, are activating. And I believe that this can supersede your and I understanding of certain ethnicities. It supersedes that. It's more about lower vibrational consciousness. And people that reach a certain low point can be taken over by that reptilian consciousness, to where we can see those manufactured bloodthirsty events, that problem, reaction, solution, on a way that the humans on the ground just don't understand. And so ungrounded humans being used as remote control by other forces of intelligence are sending the other humans into a, not a state of evil possession, but fear. Now they're afraid of these manufactured events. And they're either willing to give up more of their freedom or sovereignty to the state, or they're willing to shut down. Oh, they can be in opposition to the state in the New World Order, but they can still shut down emotionally and become Facebook junkies, thinking they're woke when they're in fact on a treadmill or a hamster wheel. And so you want to talk about, what does it mean to be a grounded person today in 2018? Can we see the problem, and can we see the solution? Can we see the contrast to the mind control and the solution for ourselves? Have you identified what it is that invigorates your energy field and what it is that drains you? At what point in your adulthood, as a man or a woman, did you figure out what drains you and what attacks your psyche and what protects you? Did you ever come upon an understanding that if you have a particular goal or something that you really want, that maybe you shouldn't put it on Facebook, that maybe you should keep it to yourself? What are those specific things that boost your energy field to a level to where your psyche is naturally protected through your spiritual practice? Have you come to understand what places on this planet that we choose to call Earth make you or help you feel more grounded? Or even are giving you the challenges, the personal life challenges that you need? Like, I can handle isolation, but to move somewhere where you feel really different in mind, body, and spirit than the people that live there also in isolation, that takes perseverance, courage, and strength to not let it completely damage your self-image. And that's the battle of the spirit that I'm in right now, to be battle forged spiritually, to where something that could destroy someone's self-image could actually be the very thing that forges that sword to a whole new level, to where unless that hammer hit that metal, that sword would have never been created. And so sometimes we're distracted by ungrounded things and ungrounded things. That's why I talk about you can meditate somewhere in the city. I often think about right across from Powell Books, right there on 10th, with all that traffic feeling all natural and stuff, going in different directions, pentagram right there. Maybe get yourself over to 12th in Burnside. Maybe you're feeling brave, right? You got the big balls and big tits, and you're ready to blast off at 82nd and Foster. A lot of people in Portland did not like my spiritual take on energy vampirism happening to Portlanders. It made them angry. Was it really them that I was making angry, or their spiritual handlers that didn't want me to help those people? Maybe that's why I came under attack in my last years in Portland. And maybe it takes a guy like me years to understand. And maybe I'm blessed to be isolated from a lot of toxic people, instead of having maybe a whole group of friends or a bunch of people coming over with beers and girls up on the land to have a bonfire on a Saturday night. Maybe it's better that I continue to forge this spirit within that will emerge more grounded and understanding and empathetic to all the world's people. I ask myself in times where I feel judged, where have I judged? And who may I have hurt? What people of color may I have hurt? Or Arabs in a past lifetime? Anything's possible for us to wake up in a reality of our own creation. You know this. So be very careful what you do from here on out. The past, the past. But what you're blogging about, what you're talking about, the thoughts that you're sending others, all this is coming back to us. Every bit of it. And that's really the only reason why I have even faith in a world of love beyond this one. I sometimes am starting to remember my dreams. Like yesterday, I told you about other dreams where I'm asking people if they understand certain concepts, like the dark side versus the light side in this world, or in the research community, or maybe a woman where there's an exchange of love. I'm not saying a sex dream. I'm saying something like a hug or a conversation where it felt real, more real than this one. More loving than the ones we meet in this world. Or a dream to where I'm up on a mountain and there's a dog, a golden lab, like something from my childhood, like that dog that came to the house, was only alive for a day before it ran out onto the road and was killed. I was 8. It's like the dog just jumping up. It's like high five. That's never happened in a dream before. The dog just jumping up, high five, Alex, and it being real. I certainly remember what it was like in a dream in 1996 when I lived as a 16-year-old in Springfield, Virginia, and had a dream that an Archon entity hopped up onto the overpass in which I was walking and BAM! Hit me like Tyson. Never been hit like that in a dream, ever. Just woke me up. Kind of like one of those astral dreams where you pop back in your body after an OBE. That was heavy. That was Tyson heavy. To have spirits come and speak to you from nature, or a dog, or a woman, or something like that. We're having this encounter, and it's like we're in a school, we're in another place. There's a difference between being in the Archon dream hijack, to where you're on the hamster wheel, or they throw a sex dream at you, or they try to get you into this lower space, and then there could be other things to where you were there and you were teaching someone something, or they were teaching you something, and it had something to do with what you're doing here. But it's like there seems to be a reason why the full memory of what happened is firewalled. But then there'll be these glimpses to where we can see through the veil. And it's like it is during these periods where I believe this. I don't know where we can prove this, but I know I'm going to write a new book about solar flares and dumb it down to the 8th grade reading level and get out the science and just speak from a journal point of view, and then hyperlink you to the different areas and studies. But it's like deep dreams, lucid dream states, sixth sense, and a geomagnetic storm. Now go to spaceweather.gov, now go to spaceweather.com, and then we can see geomagnetic activity in the news. It's not all about staged events. It's also about spiritual awakenings. Now notice, my friends, notice my listeners, my viewers. A crossover in spectrum between spiritual awakenings and false flags, riots, domestic disturbances, dream disturbances, epiphanies, revelations, scientific breakthroughs, things that can change the world. It's a period in which human energy, there is more of it. So whatever the human is focused on or emitting on an energy field level, there's going to be more of that. So there could be more attacks or bombings. Someone on the other path could be writing more pages in their book. 5 more push-ups. A deeper dream state. Deeper brainwave state, you see? It's a spectrum, like a spectrum of light. And we're in that point now, and that time of human intensity, we got to be on it. So, I ask you again, What makes you grounded? What protects your psyche? Now that you're understanding that some of this internet addiction can F us up, cigarette addiction can F us up, drinking certain types of liquids, alcohol to soda, even the effect of excess sugar. You know, the tooth infection, which is now gone now that I got treatment? I'm consuming less soda. I'm consuming less sugar. I think I need it less. And so the dopamine levels in my brain are that much more improved. But not having money for extra food this month and being on a budget of less than $400 per month, take home, that's everything included, from donations, Patreon, YouTube, I'm still at that level struggling. It gives me the opportunity to not feel poor because I can't afford soda, but to say another thing off my list that's unhealthy, to a point where all that I have is salad, quinoa, oatmeal, and healthier leaning things without an excess budget for fast food or meats or sugars, things that are ultimately not the best thing for my body. So I've gone through that transition, and I can see how, there was a lot more going on in the world last year when I was a lot more emotional, but I also realized I was consuming more sugar and more soda and more nicotine. And those three, along with less meat in some cases, not every day, but a lot of days I go without meat. Go without meat, going without nicotine, going without sugar, drinking more green tea, taking care of my teeth better than I was last year, starting to have a better sleep cycle, drinking coffee to a certain point and then backing off for several hours from something like marijuana and realizing that it shouldn't be a full-time recreational activity. So it's like, this is actually a time for you to have a quickening. And you can literally write your own manual to yourself. Your name is Ashley Simpson, or your name is Susan McPherson, or your name is Jack Anderson, or your name is Jefferson Karashi, or your name is Sam Hernandez. Whatever you identify with, see beyond the illusions of separation about what you've been told about your ethnicity's value and ability to reach spirit. Step back from that of your fellow tribal members if you need to, and those that you're listening to online for the answers. You need to know the answers for yourself, not someone's alleged conversation with a Draco. You need to be very careful with that fire. Do whatever you want. I will never stop warning you about somebody else's information telling you how this world works. There are people that will come in and tell you that they're going to expose the Archon agenda, and you need to pay a certain someone $300, and they'll clear your chakras and activate your 12. And the whole thing could be a setup just to get into your energy field. And there are some low consciousness humans that are at such a low level, they're only online to point you in someone's direction. They can't actually talk with you about what it really means to protect your psyche. And so there are energy vampires and people that can implant you with energies that shouldn't be there, that are in the world of doing it for you. You need to access the information yourself. You need to learn how to ground to the earth yourself. You need to learn certain these things. And there are certain things that are going to invigorate your energy and bring it up, right? And there's certain things that are going to cause holes in the aura. They're going to leach it. And once you identify that sex addiction isn't the way, once you identify that chain smoking isn't the way, that smoking marijuana all day long isn't the way, right? That we have to pull in some of these strings and not look outside of ourselves, then we're on the path to being a grounded human. And some of us are here in a serious boot camp scenario to learn that. They're throwing all different types of things to encourage us to live outside our body, to live in these Sim City realities and create our own Sin Cities. And in doing so, we could be pleasured in body, mind, and spirit. And I mean spirit, right? You can just receive energy spiritually and not be a spiritual person, but just be an energy vampire. and it just receives energy from others. And there are people that have confused that for spiritual progress. All they've really learned is how to be an effective vampire using technology and cell phones. They haven't actually evolved their spirit. Oh, they've created their reality all right. What they fail to understand is where there's a high, there's a low. See, there's a reason why there's something called the middle way. And it's something that a lot of people in the West, Western spiritualists, fake spiritual teachers of the West, and some say even India, right? Some of those are in for a rude awakening after leading their flocks astray. Well, there's a high, there's a low. So this world isn't a world to get intoxicated by. We got to be able to work to see reality as it is. And in doing so, our inclination to want to have a tribe, to be accepted by our peers, we got to let that go. We got to permit them to judge us. I permit you to judge me. You can think whatever you want. And I have the right to speak whatever I want on this platform. We were each given this platform and ability to speak our truth. But there are consequences for such actions. But I suspect, right, the way the Creator will treat me after this lifetime is over with is going to be a little bit more different than somehow some of the humans have treated me. When you're dealing with people in the prison, right, be very careful what you share with them about escaping from the Matrix or the prison planet. Okay. Escape attempts are not looked upon very favorably by wardens, parole boards, and prison guards. We all know that. They put out an ABB. This person right here escaped from a max prison. This person helped them. Now on the spiritual prison planet with the archons as the wardens, what kind of challenges do you think I'm up against when I try to unplug people? You don't think there's an ABB out for me up in Cosmos? So, folks, life wasn't meant to be easy. We're in boot camp. But the things that we're going through can lead us to a much stronger, grounded position. Until next time, I'm Alex Hansen reminding you, the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.